What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. APW Sports signing in. And this video is probably going to be a little bit short. I just want to give my quick thoughts on the Super Bowl. We all know by now the Kansas City Chiefs are your reigning defending Super Bowl champions. Shout out to them. Congratulations to them on the wonderful season. Also, shout out to my guy, Alcabir, the analyst, diehard Eagles fan and Eagles content creator. And I just want to congratulate the Philadelphia Eagles on having a tremendous season as well. Well, this Super Bowl was all that I expected it to be. I expected it to be a high-scoring game. I expected both offenses to have success. I expected both defenses to kind of be a little bit, I'm not going to say a letdown, but I really thought this game would come to what team can make the final draft, what team can make the last stop. Now, of course, I think this was a tale of two-half games. The first half really belonged to the Philadelphia Eagles. The time of possession was really in the Eagles' favor. They really did a wonderful job of keeping that Kansas City Chiefs offense off of the field. The running game early on, especially in the ball game for the Philadelphia Eagles, really proved key for them to have that first half lead 24-14. And some of the things that the Chiefs were doing in the first half, they were working a little bit as both teams scored on each of their first possessions, and it really thought, okay, this game is going to be high scoring. This game is going to be extremely explosive. And it kind of dwindled down to a little bit in the second half when the Eagles started to get it together offensively, and he took a shot deep with A.J. Brown. Even though Jalen Hurts threw it into double coverage, he was still able to complete that football. And it was just like, okay, this Eagles offense might have a number on the Kansas City Chiefs defense. And if it wasn't for, I think, the fumble of Jalen Hurts, this game could have been put out of hand a little earlier. But nonetheless, Jalen Hurts fumbled on his own accord. Nick Bolton picks it up, runs it back for a touchdown. He ties the game 14-14. And the Eagles took possession. They got another touchdown. They drove the ball down the field, and they were able to get a field goal at the end of the first half to give them that 24-14 lead. And some of the things that I've watched from the Eagles and the Chiefs in the second halves of their games, in particular this season, number one, the Chiefs are an amazing team in making halftime adjustments. They've been down with leads before, not just this year, in years past with the Mahomes and the Reid era, and they have come back to win ball games. And if you watch the Eagles closely this season, they are a extremely first half football team. In the first half of games, it looks like they blow the team completely out of water. The game shouldn't be close. And in this particular contest, both teams did not waver from what they were in second halves, as in the Eagles were a first half team, Chiefs second half team. The Eagles kind of slip in the second half, and the Chiefs pick it up in the first half. And one thing that I kind of really noticed watching this ball game as it went along further and further, number one, I'm not going to lie, and I'm going to say the Eagles defense kind of killed themselves with mistakes and just not really getting stops. And I'll give the Kansas City Chiefs offense credit. They made adjustments with the motion formations and some of the things that were doing and working against this Philadelphia Eagles defense. And I will give the Kansas City Chiefs offensive line a big ton of credit. They held the Eagles to 0 sacks. 0. And we're talking about one of the best pass rushing teams in probably NFL history to have 0 sacks, especially with Mahomes dealing with that ankle injury that he re-aggravated later on in that first half. For that Chiefs offensive line to protect them that well, and Mahomes' ability to still move around even though he was dealing with that ankle. And the Eagles, they were known to kind of create pressure with their front four. And them being unable to create pressure, I think, changed the game dramatically. Because if we seen in the AFC Championship game with the Chiefs, they still were kind of getting away from some pressure. The Bengals were still pressuring them in that game. And for this offensive line to make the adjustments to really protect Mahomes, especially with the injuries, and especially against the defensive front with Reid, Cox, Graham, Davis, Hargrove, and the rest of those boys. And they still did not allow a single sack. I would give credit to Mahomes, and I would definitely 100% give credit to Orlando Brown, Creed Humphrey, and the rest of that Chiefs offensive line. And if you look at it from both sides of the football, the quarterback pressure wasn't really there. Now, of course, they got a little bit of pressure every now and then. It's just getting home with both of those quarterbacks did not work. And I thought some of the sack game will be kind of key as to who would win this ball game. Now, we look a little bit into this ball game. I'm one that doesn't look at the numbers. I don't care. If you guys know me pretty well, I'm not really one that looks at the stat sheet to really determine who can win this game. I think the Eagles lost this game with turnovers. They lost this game with not being able to make those in-game adjustments in the second half, what the Chiefs were doing offensively. Now, the Eagles' offense was still running the football. They were still being successful. But I think the Chiefs buckled down and made the necessary stops when they needed to, especially in that second half, even though the Eagles ended up putting up 35 points in this ball game. The Chiefs' defense, I think, made the adjustments to what the Eagles' offense was doing for the majority of the second half, and that is what really cost the Eagles this game. So if I'm looking at this game, I'm not going to say the Chiefs won it solely or the Eagles lost it solely. It was a bit of both. The Chiefs made their necessary adjustments. The Eagles did not really necessarily make their adjustments defensively, and it really kind of cost them the turnovers. And I think that penalty on James Bradbury, I don't think it should have been called. Now, looking at it, it was a little tedious. He grabbed him a little bit, but I think in the stakes of a game like this, especially the Super Bowl with the game on the line, I don't think you make that call. That's just me. I don't think that is a call that should have been made. Even though it was a letter of the law, even though it was, I guess it was the rules, but it's just, it wasn't really one of those penalties that I want to say just really just, okay, that's blatant. If you looked at it at certain angles, it was the littlest of grabs, even though, yes, it was a grab. I don't think it really impacted Juju Smith-Schuster so much on that route. But a penalty is a penalty. The rule is the rule. And James Bradbury actually admitted it during this post-game press conference that he actually did. But for the most part, this game was a clean game as far as penalties. You didn't see a lot of penalties in this ball game. And one thing that I can say about each of these two football teams that were evenly matched, and that's why we saw this game be so good and go down to the last second, it's just I believed coming into this game, this Eagles defense was going to have a good number on the Chiefs offense. And actually, one thing I probably skipped over is that the Chiefs started to run the football effectively in the second half. And that was another thing, that the Chiefs wasn't really a big running team to begin with, but they made the adjustment and they started to run the football and they started to break this Eagles defense down in the second half. And I think the time of possession kind of went to the Chiefs' favor in the second half. Is this, number one, the Eagles were 3 and out in the turnover, and two, I just really believe that the in-game adjustments were not made for Philly. The in-game adjustments were made by Kansas City with those different formations and emotions and some of the things that Mahomes and his offense was doing and his Chiefs defense was doing. I really believe that both teams had a hand in this game, and it's not solely one side, but it is the Kansas City Chiefs that come out as Super Bowl champions, and it's crazy to think. I saw it on Twitter and my Facebook. Matt Nagy is a Super Bowl champion. All right, either way it goes, there's more to come from this channel now that the season is over. We got a lot of off-season stuff to talk about, whether it's the Bears and whether it's any other team in this league. It's shaping up to be a very crazy off-season. So I will still be making videos about that. So you guys leave this video a like, Comment your thoughts about this Super Bowl down below. And always, click the sub button and notification bell so you do not miss anything that I post. APW Sports signing out. Make sure you guys stay safe. Have a great and excellent day, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Congrats to the Kansas City Chiefs on being Super Bowl champions. Peace.